I'm Sue. Welcome to Fireside Chat. I hope that you're having a good day so far. I thought today I was just on the AARP website, and it's aarp.com. They have a lot of interesting stories, and they have like games, and they have travel tips and stories about different things that might be of interest. And so today I thought, you know what? I'm going to read a little article, and it's called Eight Things to Know About Election Disinformation in the Age of AI. So this article was written by Edward C. Baig, B-A-I-G. I think he's an AARP writer, and it was updated on the 24th, which was yesterday. So it's important that you get your information from a truthful source, and I thought, let's read this. So, one of the most turbulent presidential election campaigns in American history is entering its final days. Doesn't it feel like it's been 10 years? But whoever you intend to vote for, the potential to spread election disinformation is highly troubling, more so in this burgeoning age of generative artificial intelligence, the type of AI that can churn out words, computer code, pictures, and video based on text or other prompts from a user. Seismic advancements in AI are making it more difficult for you to figure out whether an announcement from candidates and their representatives is actually from the campaigns. Supporters on the political fringes and trolls who like to stir up trouble in general have more tools at their disposal than ever before. To varying degrees, candidates have always made exaggerated claims, and meddling in elections dates back to the earliest days of politics. But AI enhanced tools, amplified by the speedy and vast reach of social media, are digital carcinogens that can sow doubt about what is or isn't factual. Quote, the U.S. has confronted foreign malign influence threats in the past, unquote, FBI Director Christopher Wray remarked at a national security conference. Quote, but this election cycle, the U.S. will face more adversaries moving at a faster pace and enabled by new technology. Alondra Nelson agrees, quote, election hijinks are as old as time, says the Princeton, New Jersey-based professor at the Independent Research Institute for Advanced Study and former acting director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy under President Biden. But with AI, quote, I do think there's a step change from the past, unquote. The problem is both foreign and domestic, and not just doctored text. Readily available online tools let anyone with even modest tech skills create bogus local news websites, clone voices, manipulate still photos, and fabricate video that seems so authentic that it appears as if candidate X appeared at a place he or she never set foot in and said something not ever uttered. That dystopian future has begun. In January, an AI-generated robocall of Biden's impersonated voice urged some 5,000 Democrats in New Hampshire not to vote in the primary. A political operative tied to former Democratic primary challenger Dean Phillips admitted to creating the call. On September 26, the Federal Communications Commission fined the operative, Steve Kramer, $6 million for the scheme. We need to call it out when we see it and use every tool at our disposal to stop this fraud, FCC Chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel said in a statement. The Biden robocall exemplifies how technology can be deployed to widen existing divisions and suppress votes in certain communities, says Claire Wardle, a professor in the School of Public Health at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, and the co-founder and co-director of the Information Futures Lab. The idea is that changing even a few minds could tilt the scales in a close election. Warren Buffett is so concerned about disinformation and deepfakes that the billionaire investor had his company Berkshire Hathaway issue a statement, quote, "In fraudulent claims regarding Mr. Buffett's endorsement of investment products, as well as his endorsement and support of political candidates, Mr. Buffett does not currently and will not prospectively endorse investment products or endorse and support political candidates," unquote. Here's what we know this campaign season and what to look out for. There's only 2 weeks left, right? So the messaging is going to be increasingly desperate. Number one, if the message seems off, it's probably false. What lent a modicum of legitimacy to the Biden robocall is that call quality these days is far from perfect. So damage can be wrought if it sounds enough like somebody, Wardle says. The smartest things voters can do under such circumstances is apply the smell test. Quote, "Does it really make sense to you that Joe Biden is making a call telling you not to vote in the primary?" Unquote, asks Hani Farid, a UCB digital forensics professor and member of Berkeley's Artificial Intelligence Lab. Quote, "Take a breath, because the fact is, whether you're 50 and above or a Gen Z or a millennial, we do tend to move very fast on the internet," unquote. Number two, cheap fakes can be as effective as slick fakes. The budget version of a deep fake, created with Adobe Photoshop or other editing software, rather than AI, can wreak havoc too, Wardle says. Cheap fakes might alter when an image was captured, make an older candidate look more youthful, or change the context entirely. In 2020, manipulated video of Nancy Pelosi made the former speaker appear as if she were intoxicated and slurring her speech. It went viral. More recently, pictures of Donald Trump circulated on social media showing the former president in a crowd of smiling black voters. A radio host who asked for it to be created acknowledged it wasn't real, and separately posing with a half dozen young African American men whose origins were discovered to be AI. Trump has courted black voters, but fewer than 1 in 8 cast their ballots for him in November 2020, with reason, according to the Roper Center for Public Opinion Research at Syracuse University in New York. He especially dislikes black voters. Number 3, the obvious red flags will be fewer. Polished deepfakes present their own challenges. The red flags that used to tip off an AI-generated image are largely gone. Rarely will you see 6 fingers, an unattached earlobe, and other weird body parts or backgrounds that strike you as dubious. Yeah, because if you looked at lettering and fonts in some of the early DALL-E images, they would spell words wrong. And so you would have to keep prompting to have the output be spelled correctly. And you'd have to alter what that AI was kind of producing so that it would be more believable. But a lot of people, they make themselves superheroes, and there could be any kind of a background or any kind of outfit that you have on or whatever. And so, they can just create whatever they want, right? So your own knowledge of how the world works is going to be to your benefit. If something seems too scandalous, too outrageous, and too novel, then seek other sources and do a little bit of your own fact checking. And that's by Joan Donovan of Boston University. OpenAI, the San Francisco startup behind ChatGPT, recently began teasing a new text-to-video AI model called Sora, S-O-R-A, which can generate slick 1-minute Hollywood-style videos just from a text prompt. Before releasing a version to the public, OpenAI is testing Sora to assess critical areas for harms or risks, but the expectation is Sora will be released soon. OpenAI also recently demonstrated an AI tool called Voice Engine that can generate, based on text input and a 15-second audio sample, emotive voices that closely resemble a particular speaker. The company is again proceeding cautiously due to the potential for synthetic voice misuse. Once again, employ common sense. Quote, how do we know a movie like Independence Day is a movie and not news of an alien invasion? Unquote, asks Joan Donovan, an assistant professor of journalism and emerging media studies at Boston University. Quote, this is where your own knowledge of how the world works is going to be to your benefit. That fact-checking should extend beyond words. Consider doing a reverse image search, like on Google, that may help you learn about when and where a photo was taken. So you may find that it's not a real photo, or it was stolen from someone's profile, or it's an AI-generated photo. Number 4, what's flagged as fake may be true. Like almost any technology, or anything at all, AI can be used for evil, but Wardle worries about another possibility. Quote, that this technology exists allows a politician who does something wrong and gets caught to say, quote, oh, that's a deep fake, that wasn't me, that wasn't a hot mic moment, somebody manipulated that, quote, she says, quote, it gives the kind of plausible deniability to the people who are up to no good, unquote. Number 5, pink slime, which I've never heard of before, may be lurking in your browser history. Pink slime isn't something from a horror flick, but it can creep up on you just the same. The term, which you might associate with meat slurry used in processed foods like some chicken nuggets, refers to websites that masquerade as local news outlets. Their undisclosed financing is coming from political operatives on the left and the right. I would say the right. Pink slime sites load quickly, have no paywalls, have no pop-ups, no pop-up ads. They are written by people who are trying to support their own candidate or smear the other one, unquote. Claire Wardle, Brown University. In February, NewsGuard, an organization founded by media entrepreneur and journalist Stephen Brill, that rates the trustworthiness of news and information websites, launched the 2024 Elections Misinformation Tracking Center. It found 963 websites worldwide that repeatedly published false claims about elections. It identified 793 social media accounts associated with those sites. And as of late September, 1,273 partisan sites were masquerading as local news outlets with names such as the Philadelphia Leader and the Copper Courier. What marks a pink slime site? Quote, they load quickly, have no paywalls, have no pop-up ads, unquote, Wordle says. Quote, stories are written by people who are trying to support their own candidate or smear the other one, unquote. When readers see a new local news site, they should dig deeper. Go to a fact-checking website like PolitiFact, Snopes, or NewsGuard, which may have vetted the unfamiliar outlet's legitimacy, says Carmen Noble, editor-in-chief and strategic director of the Journalists Resource. Beyond the alert for outrageous headlines or photos that are manipulated to look like headline images or news stories, but don't link to any article. If a site claims to be a nonprofit, one potential but not foolproof designation is a .org at the end of the web address. Public information should be available. So if it says .org at the end of the website address, there should be public information that you can look up. For instance, AARP, a nonprofit founded in 1958, has the 4 most recent years of its annual reports, audited financial statements, and IRS forms 990 on its website. Its mission is listed at the bottom of every web page. ProPublica, an independent nonprofit newsroom, has AARP's Form 990 for 2018 in its Nonprofit Explorer database and updates those records when the IRS publishes more of its backlogged electronic tax records. On any website, look at the About Us page. Does it adequately explain what the news organization is? Do you see a physical address or an easy way to get in touch? Treat the absence of these things as a warning. The About AARP page is linked from each page on the website in the section at the bottom called the footer. While you may appreciate the fact that these pink slime sites have no distracting ads, it also means that a fake news site is getting funded by someone or something else, Donovan says. Number 6, misinformation may not come from the top of the ticket. Well, it does in one case, but anyway. Yes, you may see fake imagery, stories, and video about the candidates before Election Day, but someone could just as easily spread disinformation by impersonating a local election official who says the polls are closed when they're not. Election Day 2024, the day when registered voters can cast their ballots for U.S. President and Vice President, House members, senators, other officials, and issues, depending on where they live, is Tuesday, November the 5th. The states in Congress have the power to delay a presidential election, but in only one recent instance was a federal election postponed. It was after Super Typhoon U2 struck U.S. territory, the Northern Mariana Islands, about 10 days before Election Day 2018, according to the Congressional Research Service. The U.S. election happened in 1864, too, despite the Civil War being waged close to the nation's capital and troops being stationed far from their home polling places. Quote, if you go back to the last 3 national elections, people tried all kinds of shenanigans to get people not to vote, unquote, Farad says. Quote, oh, the voting date has changed. Oh, you can text your vote here. Oh, mail-in voting doesn't work. oh, your ballot boxes are full. Those are all lies. Social media, email, and text circulated the lies quickly and with little, if any, cost. The same can happen today. Number 7, AI chatbots are unreliable sources for election info. Nearly 4 in 10 adults surveyed by Pew Research Center in February said they don't trust information about the 2024 presidential race that comes from ChatGPT, a ratio that holds true whether the respondents lean towards Democrats or Republican. Their distrust is well-founded. A study released in late February from the AI Democracy Projects found that other AI chatbots, in addition to ChatGPT, cannot be relied upon to produce factual information about the election. The initiative, a collaboration between Proof News and the Science, Technology, and Social Values Lab at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey, assembled election officials from states where both Democrats and Republicans are in the majority in legislatures, along with academics, industry experts, and journalists. These experts posed 26 questions to 5 leading generative AI models: Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini, OpenAI's GPT-4, Meta's Llama 2, and Mistral's Mixtral. Questions were meant to serve as a proxy for voters seeking facts on registering to vote, finding polling places, voting, tabulating ballots, and certifying the election. Among their findings, all the AI models performed poorly around election information. Half the responses were inaccurate. More than a third of responses were considered harmful or incomplete. More than 1 in 10 deemed biased. Quote, these election officials were really taken aback and shocked that information that sounded so credible could be so wrong, unquote. Alondra Nelson, Institute for Advanced Study, Princeton, New Jersey. Answers were often hallucinations, meaning they sounded correct or authoritative, but were fabricated. When asked where to vote within a Phoenix zip code, Google Gemini, which was called Bard, listed outdated polling places. ChatGPT-4 falsely responded that someone could wear a Make America Great Again hat to a Texas polling place. The state prohibits voters from wearing campaign-specific apparel at the polls. Okay, that's good. Quote, these so it makes them quite worried about the whole plethora of issues as we go into this really important election year. Number 8, social media shouldn't be your source for news. Facebook parent Meta, which has had problems with data misuse during the 2014 midterm elections, fake posts, and hate speech during the 2016 presidential elections, and misleading ads during the 2020 election and its aftermath, has announced measures to curb AI misinformation in 24. It's about time. Now, Meta's policy requires Facebook and Instagram advertisers to disclose whenever a social issue, election, or political ad contains a photorealistic image or video or realistic sounding audio that was digitally created or altered. Meta also said it will not allow ads that independent fact checkers rate as false, altered, partly false, or missing context. In the coming months, it says it will label images that users post to Facebook, Instagram, and Threads that it detects are AI generated. But critics of Facebook and other social media warn users to steer clear of using them to learn about news. Totally agree. Quote, the science is unequivocal here. Social media is bad for your mental and physical health, let alone your IQ. Quote, unquote, Fareed says. Quote, if you must be on social media, don't use them as a news source. They are a place for entertainment and connecting with your buddies. unquote. Instead, Fareed advises people to get news from mainstream media outlets, however imperfect they may be. Maybe don't go to Fox News. Before sharing anything, people must be responsible and seek out trusted fact-checking organizations that are a Google search away. So, yeah, it's kind of hard, isn't it, to know who to trust? So I feel that it's really important that you check and triple check your sources if you are watching something on TV or you're watching a candidate have to respond on CNN, I think it was, that, no, it was Brett Baer. When Brett Baer was interviewing Kamala Harris, he was so rude. He interrupted her. He never let her finish her question, never let her finish her answer. He deliberately showed a clip that was not what she was supposed to respond to. So he tried to trick her into saying something that instead of being about the clip, she called him out on it and said, that's not what the clip you showed was about. And so those are the disgusting things that Fox News has on their programming. I mean, remember, they were sued and had to pay like $787 million because of producing misinformation, let's just say lies. And I can't believe they're still in business. That's unfortunate. But you know what? They're still on there putting out ridiculous content that may not be true at all and favoring Donald Trump in his rambling word salad speeches. And instead of talking about both candidates truthfully and not putting down and blackening the current really strong economy and good policies. So, you know what? The only way that we can win is to win fairly. Unfortunately, the only way Republicans can win is to cheat. So let's think about that for a moment. Make sure that you vote early, that you think about what kind of a world you want your kids and grandkids to live in. And remember that if he wins, we'll never vote again. So choose wisely. And remember, ladies, that your vote is confidential and that you don't have to tell anyone how you voted. Your husband or partner has no right to know and will not know how you voted. And so no matter what he says or what he votes for, or even if the tables are turned and you have a wife who's a Trumper and you're not, you don't have to tell anyone how you voted ever. But do the right thing, okay? Do the right thing. Because we can't handle 9 more years of this clown and his dangerous agenda. So please vote with your brain and not being coerced or brainwashed into voting for the destruction of our country. Thank you. We will talk again soon, and thank you for watching. Please take care of yourself. And we'll talk next time. Thank you.